Stop scrolling, because what I'm about to show you is history in the making.
There is no point of shouting black beauty when there is no black power. Black is only beautiful when it is powerful.
Imagine one of the biggest dancehall artists alive, Vybz Kartel, the world boss himself, wearing a Kenyan t-shirt, lip-syncing the fiery Pan-African speeches of Professor PLO Lumumba. Yes, a Jamaican icon embracing the words of a Kenyan lawyer and pushing them to millions of fans across the globe. That's not entertainment. That's a cultural revolution, and it's happening right now. Guys, buckle up, because we're about to decode why this moment changes everything in you.
Never must Africa say that there is one colonizer who is better than the other. All of them are the same. Some kill you smiling, some kill you sneering, but at the end of the day, you are dead. As we unite for the sake of Africa, and unity never came. And Mwalimu says, as they were going out, he heard some of the leaders saying, "Thank God."
What happens when the king of dancehall becomes a messenger for Pan-Africanism? What happens when a man who built his empire on raw Jamaican street culture suddenly becomes the voice carrying African intellectual fire to the masses? I am talking about Vybz Kartel, the world boss himself, the man who literally changed dancehall from behind bars, now amplifying PLO Lumumba's revolutionary speeches. And if you think this is just another viral moment, you're missing the revolution happening right in front of us. Let me paint you this picture. We live in an era where African and Caribbean diaspora communities are more connected than ever, yet more fragmented than ever. We share TikTok dances, we stream each other's music, we copy each other's fashion, but when it comes to the deep work of unity, liberation and collective power, we're still playing catch up to what Marcus Garvey and Kwame Nkrumah, Mwalimu Julius Kabarage Nyerere dreamed about decades ago. The legacy of Thomas Sankara is dying, and then comes this moment where Vybz Kartel, not a politician, not an academic, but a dancehall artist with more cultural influence than most heads of states, decides to carry PLO Lumumba's message to his massive platform. Okay, PLO Lumumba doesn't speak in sound bites. He speaks in surgical strikes against our collective consciousness. When he says African unity has failed too many times, even our own leaders sometimes celebrated its failure, he is not being pessimistic. He is being surgical. He is telling us that our own people, drunk on colonial validation, have sabotaged the very unity that must liberate us. He's saying when we celebrate diversity over unity, when we compete instead of collaborating, when we choose individual success over collective power, we're doing the colonizers' work for free. And when Lumumba declares there is no such thing as a good colonizer, he's destroying the fairy tale that some forms of oppression are gentler than others. Whether they kill you with a smile or a snarl, whether they exploit you with Shakespeare or with whips, you're still being killed and exploited. But here's the line that hits different, right? Shouting black beauty means nothing if it is not backed by black power. Blackness is only beautiful when it is powerful, quote unquote. That's not a feel-good rhetoric, that's a diagnosis. How many times have you celebrated our melanin, our culture, our glow up moments while remaining economically dependent, politically powerless, and strategically divided? Beauty without power is just performance. Now, take that intellectual fire and put it in the hands of Vybz Kartel, a man with 1.5 million Spotify followers, over 1 million streams, 70 million YouTube views just last year in Jamaica alone, and 1.1 million TikTok followers. That's not just influence. I'm talking about a cultural empire. Massive. And when Kartel lip syncs Lumumba, when he rocks that Kenyan gear, when he openly calls himself Kenyan out of love, he's not just going viral. He's doing what traditional Pan-African movements have struggled to do for decades. He's making African consciousness cool, accessible, and emotionally resonant for the masses. Think about it. How many young people in Kingston, Port of Spain, or Brooklyn are going to hear PLO Lumumba's name for the first time because the world boss put him in their timeline? How many diaspora youth who will never sit through a political lecture are now getting exposed to revolutionary African thought through dancehall culture, right? Let me get personal for a minute. Growing up in the diaspora, I watched my Caribbean friends dismiss Africa as backward, while my African friends looked down on Caribbean culture as too Western. Meanwhile, both communities were getting economically crushed by the same systems, politically marginalized by the same forces, and culturally exploited by the same industries. The divide and conquer strategy worked so well that we started doing it to ourselves. Jamaican versus Nigerians, Trinidadians versus Ghanaians, as if our oppressors cared about the difference when they were shipping us across Atlantic or carving up our homelands. But culture has always been our secret weapon. When Bob Marley sang about African redemption, when Fela Kuti created Afrobeat as a political resistance, when hip-hop emerged from Caribbean African fusion in the Bronx, these weren't just artistic moments, they were acts of cultural Pan-Africanism. Vybz Kartel carrying PLO Lumumba's message is the latest chapter in that story. It is a proof that the bridge between Africa and Caribbean was never truly broken. It was just waiting for the right messengers. And here's what gets me emotional about this moment. For far too long, Pan-Africanism has been trapped in conference rooms, academic papers, and political speeches that never reach the people who need them the most. Meanwhile, the streets, the dance halls, the barbershops, the markets, that's where real cultural power lives. When Kartel amplifies Lumumba, he is proving that Pan-African consciousness doesn't have to choose between being intellectual and being popular, between being serious and being entertaining, between being African and being Caribbean. Alright, this is what liberation looks like in the digital age. It's 2025, guys. Not just marching in the streets through, like, though we still need that. Not just writing manifestos, though we still need those. But using every platform, every cultural moment, every viral opportunity to spread the consciousness that can unite us as one people. And let's talk about strategy. What Kartel is doing inadvertently is showing as a blueprint for modern Pan-African organizing. Instead of waiting for governments to unite Africa and the Caribbeans, like something they've been promising for 60 years, cultural figures with massive reach are building those bridges themselves. Big up and salute to World Boss. And think about that impact. Kartel's influence reaches into communities that traditional Pan-African organizations struggle to penetrate. He's talking to the youth who are more likely to stream music than attend our political rallies, more likely to engage with TikTok than read political theory. But here's the key. He's not dumbing down the message. Lumumba's speeches are still intellectually rigorous, politically sharp, and philosophically deep. Kartel is just changing the delivery method. So where do we go from here? This moment is bigger than Vybz Kartel and PLO Lumumba. It's a proof that the tools for Pan-African unity already exist. We just need to use them differently. Every African artist who collaborates with Caribbean musicians is building a bridge. Every Caribbean intellectual who engages with African political thought is building a bridge. Every time our communities share resources, knowledge, cultural expression, we are proving that the colonizer's map was always a lie. The question is not whether we have enough in common to unite. History has already answered that. The question is whether we have enough courage to act to that unity. PLO Lumumba was right, by the way. Blackness is only beautiful when it is powerful. And power in the 21st century is increasingly cultural. It's about who controls the narratives, who shapes the conversations, who influences the masses. When the world boss becomes a messenger for African intellectual tradition, when dancehall becomes a vehicle for Pan-African consciousness, when entertainment itself becomes education, then that's power, my people. The revolution won't be televised, but it might be streamed, shared, and remixed until it reaches every corner of the African and Caribbean world. Because at the end of the day, this is not about Vybz Kartel or PLO Lumumba. This is about whether we as African and Caribbean people are ready to stop performing unity and start building it. The choice is ours, by the way. The tools are in our hands. The moment is now. It's now, guys. And what are we going to do with it? A big shout out to Vybz Kartel, the world boss himself, for doing such a tremendous job, for him pushing the message to the masses. And for you who is going to watch this video, if you find it insightful, kindly push it, share it, like this video, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications, that every time I post a new video, you'll be the first person to get notified about my content. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always supporting me. I hope to see you in my next video. It's been the Bantu Merchant here.